Perfect. Thank you, Dirk. Okie dokie. So let's start very shortly. So who are we from founders at UniBw? We are the Intra and Entrepreneurship Center at the UniBw. What does it mean? That we don't only support entrepreneurs, people who want to start a business or a startup like outside the university. We also support people who want to do it within the university or even within the Bundeswehr. That's intrapreneurship. So people, it's like corporate entrepreneurship. So ideas that would change how the uni works or how the Bundeswehr works, or for that matter, how any company within the company works. And we work in 4 dimensions, mainly exchange, education, support, and groundwork. And this is the 4 things that shape everything we do and our whole offer that we have for you. Exchange would be our idea of trying to network people in the uni. We know that in the uni, everyone works like separately in their institute or faculties or their teams. We don't know each other very much. There are not many instances where we can meet each other. So instances like this webinar today, our quick tips, our brand backs, it's our interest, let's say, to try to network with all of you and get to know each other. That's how you meet your co-founders for a startup. That's how you get new ideas. That's how you meet people in the uni. Then the next step would be education. So we have, I'm going to tell you about it, like trainings and workshops for all of you and people who want to start a business or just want to learn about entrepreneurship and intrapreneurship. Then support, it's the whole, like everything we want to do to support the people who really want to go with it. So we know that with exchange and education, there's a lot of people who just want to learn about it. Okay, what's entrepreneurship? What's innovation? What can I do with it? But not everyone wants to found a startup, and that's okay. So by support, we really support the people who do. They have an idea, they have a team, and they need to know, okay, what do I do from here? So I have the idea and that's all I have. That's our support. And groundwork, it's our whole resources that we have. So I'm going to talk to you about also about LabNet. We have a bibliothèque in the uni from founders. We have books on entrepreneurship and innovation that you can always borrow, and a lot of information on our website to help you with it. So on like programs that we have, I don't know if within you today we have students, but we do have a Studium Plus in entrepreneurship, intrapreneurship, and social entrepreneurship every trimester. And we have Wahlpflichtmodule also in the same area. So if there are students among you and you want to check it out, you can just go on the Studium Plus catalog. Then for VMEs and professors and everyone on the uni, we have workshops and trainings, and themes and subjects are very different. Yesterday, we had a workshop on presentations and how you can like do your pitch and present your ideas. But we also have on founding, more people are coming in, on founding methods and skills and this new work methods that we are all hearing about, like design thinking and agile methods. And we organize it all free. It's all organized by us and all open to every VME and professors on the uni. In the uni. Then we have our co-working space. I think you got an email already. We have our big opening next week, and we have our founders market. That was before the Edeka supermarket, so maybe you know. And if you don't know, in building 30 by Brandl, this is this restaurant, we have a founders market that's also open. You can book it if you need it for your events, or you can just go with there if you want to work with your teams, if you want to study. So you just have to write to us. And then startup coaching, it's this guidance, it's one-on-one talking, and we help you to say, okay, you want to start a startup, that is how you do it. These are the steps. This is what you need. This is what you would learn. This is what you need to learn to go further, and we're going to talk about it later. And on our website, there's a lot of online and self-learning websites. So for websites and sites. So for the one of you who don't have any time, they cannot go to uni, they cannot go to workshops and trainings and stuff. Internet, it's full of information. So don't go any further, just go to the website, and we have courses and MOOCs and online courses you can take to get on this entrepreneurial way. And like I said, webinars on the exchange area. We have our webinars, brown bags and quick tips. Today it's a brown bag because it's like for the uni, for research people, for research subjects. Quick tips, it's different subjects. So our quick tip last week was on boss versus leader, what you gotta do to be a leader or a manager in a company. Those are once a month, so 2 webinars a month, every month, the whole year. And you can always join in, all per Zoom, all open to everyone and free. Then we have always competitions like Smart Solutions Challenge last year and the beginning of this year. I don't know if you saw it, but we are doing every year different competitions. So you can come, you can participate, you can bring your idea. Again, it's always free and always open for everyone to join. And then we have programs for the ones who already have a project, so are already working either a startup or kind of a team that it's already working. We have our incubator and our accelerator. Incubator was before only for intrapreneurship. Now it's going to be open for like normal projects. And Space Founders, it's our accelerator. But that for the moment, it's only for startups who are going in the space industry. So we don't have an accelerator yet for any other startups. And last but not least, like I said before, also, we are working on LabNet, which is a huge network of every laboratory and machines that we have on the uni. So there are so many things that you can use. You can book, it's all free, but you have no idea because they are like hidden in a laboratory in another faculty. We're doing a huge network that you can use. So if you want to test your product, you want to prototype, you want to do an MVP and all that kind of stuff, we're going to have a network for you to discover where, how, and with who you can do it. So that's on our, and we're going to be talking today, especially on startup coaching and access with Dirk and Manoj. Then again, how to contact us, that's our website, UniBw Entrepreneurship, and our email and our LinkedIn. So through our website and our LinkedIn, we always share with you events, webinars like this, if we have trainings, workshops, competition, anything. So please follow us on LinkedIn and go to the website when we update it normally. And those are our emails from UniBw, from founders. If you have any question, we are always answering. So please don't be shy. You can write to us. Any question you have, it's no problem. Okay. And that's enough from us. Now we want to get to know you guys too. So I've prepared a little poll that should be starting on your screen right now. It's only 4 little questions, so we can know like what's your kind of experience, why did you join, and what do you want to learn from us, so we can know in which direction to go. So I'm gonna give you just like 1 or 2 minutes to read through the questions, and Dirk and Manoj, you can also see the results right away on your screens. Okay, good. So some answers are already coming. A lot of people already working on an idea. That's pretty cool to hear. Very nice. And a lot of it who are at least thinking about it. That's also pretty cool. So yay. Okay, I'm just gonna leave it for a moment there. And on the meantime, I'm gonna wait. Okay, that's okay. Last invitation, like I said, we have webinars every month. And for you, the ones of you who already have an idea or are interested in starting a business, I think this webinar can be interesting to you. It's Startup with Ethics. It's a book. It's going to be in German, by the way, not in English. It's a book that wrote some professors here in Bayern about startup with ethics. So how can we do a startup that is responsible, that is sustainable, that cares about our teammates and about our people? So we're going to be talking on the 18th of November at 2, like today, via Zoom. And you can just go on our website. It's going to be updated, the event. And you can go and inscribe yourself and register if you are interested. Okay, so without further ado, I am ready with my presentation. I'm gonna stop my screen, and Manoj, I'm gonna give it to you.
Thank you very much, Philly. Warm welcome, all of you. Yes, I can see that many of you have switched camera, but if feel free to switch it on because we are a very small group. And the first characteristic of any founder is that you are very open-minded and very open to network. Because if you want to go and do the business, you need to talk to people and you have to show yourself, you have to talk to, so don't be shy. If you have possibility of switching on your camera, that's very nice. That's very nice team you have started your camera, so nice to see you. Okay, who am I and why am I talking to here? Thank you, Umberto. So my name is Manoj Nimbalkar. You can call me Manoj. I have a PhD in physics from TU Munich. It's already going to be 10 years this year, actually. And why am I entering into Gründungsberatung or startup coach? I'm doing coaching or technical coaching, startup coaching since 2012 altogether. I have coached many startups in just last 2 years. I have coached already more than 70 startups all over Europe and India, actually, mostly in Europe and Germany. Okay, and why I can coach startups, because I'm founder myself. I'm also working on my 5th startup, actually. Not all are successful, actually, but that is the main reason why I can share with you the failures. But some of them are successful, and I can also share what made them successful, basically. All right, so I will now share my screen. The presentation is for you to show the things, to generate some question in your mind. But feel free to interact. Feel free to stop me in between and ask the question. Is that okay with you also, Philly? Yeah, cool. Thank you. All right, so I will share my screen. All right, good. Can all of you see the screen? Yeah, wonderful.
All good.
So in this presentation of 15 to 20 minutes of, let's keep it very interactive, what we will be looking at. So we will basically look at 3 points. Why startup? What are the important points to take care, and what are the how to even get into the startup, and important one, basically the funding. So I will touch base on the funding, and later on my colleague Dick would get you more about the funding opportunities. So all of you are here, it means that you are interested in startup, or you want to at least know about the startup. I can see also from the questionnaires. And what are the possibilities? So I will be more focused on why you enter into startup, and what are the possibilities to get coached, and what is the exist or funding opportunity. Okay. So when entering a startup, we always ask question, why I should enter into the into startup. So this is the why. This 3-letter question is very, very important as a startup. You should always question everything, as a startup founder or scientist. So most of you are maybe scientists coming from science background or engineering background. So you should ask this question, why
Connection problems. So
Okay, recording is progress. Good. So start for anything wherever whichever profession you choose, you nowadays you need those qualities, the qualities of entrepreneurs, What are those qualities? For example, be always open-minded, be always upfront. You always have like to do attitude, looking towards more problem, trying to solve the problem rather than bringing your own solution. So startup basically gives you that opportunity. Startups gives you the opportunity to interact, to network, to learn as quickly as possible. So in the startup scenario, you have very high and very steep learning curve altogether. That's why I basically even enter into startup. I left my higher management position and I enter into my own startup basically. Of course, entering into startup is not always being high, to be honest, but it's always like, there are a lot of learning curves and maybe pitfalls and a lot of financial troubles. And that's why we also will touch base how you can even sustain yourself, your living altogether. Okay. So the question you should ask yourself is like, are startups for you? So startups are basically, it's a very small, very nimble, very lean, basically very fast. So the advantage any startup could have is basically a speed, the speed with which you can work compared to BMW. Even though BMW has the same project and you have same project, why BMW? You can win against BMW because you are small, you are fast, you don't have bureaucratic points there you have to take care, and you can make changes as soon as possible. So you can reach it, of course. Of course, BMW is big. It's like, it's like comparing elephant with cheetah, so that's the difference between the big companies and the startups. So our startup for you, the startups have various points like founders, the who basically have an idea or found are main stakeholders of the company or the startup basically, and they are running it. In the sense, they are responsible for a lot of things. For example, interacting, getting first customer, bringing the funding, and so on and so forth. So it's a huge responsibility. But if you do not want to be a startup, but you want to work for a small team, you can also enter into the startup. So this is also a good opportunity for you to start your career altogether. Because in a startup at early stages, you can learn a lot. You even learn about management, you learn about customer interaction, if you learn about how technical development is done, how you can even develop your product from the scratch on concept basis up to the launch. So you have to answer those questions yourself. So I have put here the link. Of course, you will get those slides actually, so you don't have to worry about it. There are many stories. You can find it on Google or on the search engine, right? So our startup for me, or how I can even build a startup. So I just put one of the very famous story from Y Combinator founder here, why I should start a startup actually. In my career of last 2 years, active participation in the startup, I have learned, my learning curve was more than 1000% actually. So which I even haven't learned when I was working for a big company for almost 6 years. So my learning curve was in a company was almost like this. When I just left and came into my own startup, my learning curve was shoot like crazy. Of course, it was overwhelming, but I was very happy. So you had to answer that question, our startup for you yourself. So how can how you can even find those answers? You can talk to your friends, you can talk to the mentors, coaches, the person you can trust, your professors, your friends, someone who already founded. For example, we have Adrian, who basically can even answer those questions. All right. So when I consider all of you have decided to enter into startup. So what are the points you should or consider, or what are the needs to start a startup? So everyone start with an idea. So what I would suggest is start with the problem. So in the left-hand side, all the question mark, a problem worth solving. This is the most important point. Doesn't matter if that problem is related with your field of study or anything. If you see that there is a problem worth solving and no one is solving that, that's a problem you should pursue for. Then what is the next important thing you need? It's a team. The most important, of course, you can start a so-called solopreneur, but solopreneur is a nice concept, but you always need a team, actually, a team who has the same vision, who has the same mission, and who's driving to solve that problem, basically. So you need a good team. A team, then you can ask the question like what the team consists of. The team could be a technical guy, a marketing guy, or business person, someone who basically whole team together, a coach and advisors. That's also comes. So team is very, very important factor. Then comes the idea which or solution which solves the problem, basically. Because everyone says the ideas are cheap. It's true, because you can have concepts of idea in your head. You can generate millions of ideas in your head, but implementing them is very difficult. And that is the reason why you need to have a very good team and very good problem to solve. And also the support system. I will talk about that more. A support system is like you need the advisor. You need someone who can direct you, or someone who basically help you to do the validation of your solution. Someone who has a competence to even guide you. Someone basically assist you, and someone to whom you can go for an help, and someone who can give information. So how does this support system look like? So this is exactly the founders BW stand for. So founders BW basically, or we basically have this whole supporting system, someone who can help, give you information, can give you advice, direct you, and so on and so forth. So these are the important main elements of the startup. I just put it here. Of course, there are many more, but these are the top 5 I would suggest. Okay, going forward, what are the points I should consider, or you should consider when you start a startup? So any project or any concept field or it doesn't matter, it's a startup or it is a company project, or it is your PhD project or bachelor project, master project, or your personal project. There are top 3 reasons why it could fail. The first thing is that you don't have a right, there is no market need, or basically you are developing something no one needs. So take an example of Google glasses. That was one point. There are many, I think on an average, big companies trash their projects because no one is in the need of it. Then you ran out of the cash, like you ran out of the money. That's the main second reason why any startup could, or any project could fail. And you do not have a right team. So if first 2 are still holds, and if you don't have a right team to build that project, doesn't matter the technical, but also working together. That's why the team dynamics really plays very, very important role. Then also your startup could get failed. So you have to really consider all these points. Of course, you can Google it about this important things on us, why any startup could fail. So these are the points to consider. And then in the next stage, this is exactly the ecosystem. The ecosystem is something, because you alone as a startup never will survive. You need to enter into a ecosystem. And what does mean by this ecosystem? How does it look like? It's basically it's like an association of the support organization, research organization, or service providers, or funding of organizations, or universities and big companies. And they basically support you. For example, a support organization look like, okay, they provide you in the first stages, they provide you co-working spaces. They're providing you a stage to have a networking, for example, networking event. Research laboratories or universities or organizations who basically support you to even do your proof of concepts, because you don't have funding to even buy those big machineries, right? So, or the scientific instrument. Then you can even talk to those professor or scientific institutes. Funding organization like Exist, for example, if you are looking for a funding to create your first prototype or support you for daily life, for getting your food, you can even apply for such things. So, and big companies as your first customers, through this ecosystem, you can then, easily get in touch with the big companies. They might be your first customers or users, or they might also provide you the platform to do the research or proof of concept. So entering into a startup ecosystem is very important. That's how you can thrive. Not only that, but you also have networking with other startups or scale-ups, those who are getting into success, or you have an opportunity to even talk to a lot of failed projects. Maybe you are working on same project and someone already worked like a couple of years ago and why it fails. You have an opportunity to even talk to that person or the team. So entering into this startup ecosystem is very important. That's why we at here in the UniBw, we are building up that startup ecosystem because we have access to big companies, we have access to the research organization, we have access to that support system. Because this costs a lot of time, and time is more than money, I would importantly. And second is you need a lot of money as well. So getting into the startup ecosystem is of paramount importance, and you should choose it also wisely, which ecosystem you should enter. For example, so shall I enter into this ecosystem with where they are working on, what are their focus and so on. So you should also talk to them, and they definitely will guide you very honestly, because they also want to increase their success rate, right? So when you talk to, let's say, us, and then we say that, hey, maybe you should go into this ecosystem, and maybe that will help, or maybe we just help you right away, and then we put you in connection with some other ecosystem. So entering into ecosystem is really important for a startup. Okay. You have any question till now, or? Okay, if not, then I will just go on more. Where can I support you? So I'm working as a Gründungsberater or startup coach at the Founders UniBw, and my responsibilities are like talking to you, getting to know you as a person, getting to know your team, getting to know your startup, the big idea, because you want to create some solution. And then I basically then try to see where we can put you in. Like you need funding, you need team members, you need education. Then I put you in right contact within our ecosystem. For example, Philly has mentioned there are lots of programs we are organizing. So then those programs, then we basically help you like end to end all together. In the sense, like we have incubation program, and then you come here, you get co-working space, for example, you get networking, and then we guide you all together. So this guide, how does this startup coaching look like? So this is not a leadership coaching altogether. This is a related with the startups. Anything like technical question, how I can make sure like my startup idea is worth following. How can I get that validate? So I help you in like talking to customer, for example, how you should talk to customer, how you should even build up your own visibility, and so on and so forth. How you can do the prototyping, how you should write your grant, for example, or how you should approach the investors if you don't want to go for public funding. So this is how the startup coaching and Gründungsberater look like. So our currently our focus is basically on the exist altogether. So what is exist? Then I will also show it to you in the next slides. So exist program is from the government of German government, who and they have three main program lines. The first program line is the exist cultural of entrepreneurship. This is not for you, but this is for the university. For example, us, we got this big funding, and then with this funding, we help you. We help you in all this way, like organizing all these events, coaching, and so on, because it costs a lot of money. And that's why, and we also build this whole infrastructure around it, like, so this is the first thing. Second is the exist business grant or startup grant, or exist Gründungsstipendium in German. So this is only for 1 year when you have almost a prototype, the first prototype ready, and you want to make it into the final product, and you are now ready to launch. So this business startup grant helps you for with the 3 people, basically with your salary and up to 30,000 euros as a material cost plus coaching cost. And this is only for 1 year, but cannot be extended. And you can apply anytime throughout the year. So, and what is the requirement? That you shouldn't have founded your company. You need to go through the university to manage this money inflow, and you should get all the support from the university altogether, like lab space, office space, and so on and so forth. The third and most important one is basically the exist transfer of research, or exist fortunes transfer. This is for high stake or high what do you call the project which needs still a lot of research, which has a lot of risk basically to enter into market. No one is doing it. So, and it's still in the research phase. So you can get a lot of funding out of it actually. And it is applied only twice a year, like in January and in July. And they have 2 phases altogether. So you can apply for something which even in the conceptual phase, but this is mostly recommended that you can apply this when you have some research paper behind it, or someone, you have a kind of a already some research is going on, you want to bring that research into the market. So this also is very good funding opportunity for you. Please mind that for these 2, startup grant and transfer of research, you need to have a team. Of course, you for startup grant, you can apply as a solopreneur or a single person, but Exist always recommend that you need to have a team, at least minimum 2 or 3 people to apply for. For more information, of course, you can go to the Exist.de, that's the website, and you will find the information in German and as well as in English. So I would look for the German one, because the German is more updated than English version. So if you have, but there is always a FAQ, like who is eligible to apply for it. Do I have to be in the university to apply for it? It's not necessary. You should, even if you are working for some company, but you are within the 5 years of university graduation, after graduation, then you can still eligible to apply for it actually. The only point here, once you get the Exist grant, then you have to leave your current job or your current position, because this is the money they support you only for when you are not working for anyone, and focus only on your project. Okay. So I believe that you are ready for a startup, and always remember that whatever you make the plan, it looks like very smooth. That yes, doesn't matter how much plan you make it, it looks smooth on the paper, but in reality there are a lot of pitfalls, as you can see, and you have to find a way to navigate it. And how you can navigate it is the most important point for me when I started navigating my own startup, is through networking, talking to people, getting to know, talking very openly about your, getting to know the problems. Like, talk about problem, not a solution. So when you have a solution, you always can keep it in the cupboard locked, but try to understand, is there a problem worth solving, which then can I fit that problem solution if it is there? And then once you see that there is problem solution fit, then you can go for a market solution fit, and you can make your startup journey from there. With this slide, I'm done with my talk. Actually, you feel free to get in touch with me also on LinkedIn. The best way is an easier way and very friendly way is to go to LinkedIn and search for my name, or I will also share my link here. And whenever you have any question, feel free, and we can. I'm available for to answer your question. Okay, so now I open it. I don't know how much time I have, Philly, but I'm open for questions.
Yeah, perfect, Manoj. I'll say first, let's go directly to Dirk. So Dirk, you can share your screen, and I'm gonna start also recording if it stops because you're.
Sure. Okay, so warm welcome everybody, also from my side. So I will start sharing on my screen as well.
Yeah. Dirk, can you stop your recording? Otherwise, I cannot start mine.
Is it still recording?
You should see, yeah, Aufnahme. Yeah, okay, let's put it like that.
Oh,
go ahead.
Okay, perfect. Yeah, so again, warm welcome from my side. So I have a financial background. I'm working now here for the founders team for incubation and venturing. I prepared a bit of information about the financials. So you see a lot of text because I wanted to give that also to you, so you can read it later on yourself and have the information. Yeah, so just from my side, some advices, some facts, and also some information where you can get money on that part. And first of all, as the headline says, it's not all about the money, but you will need it when founding your startup. And my first advice would be that you don't underestimate the importance of financials. In the end, from time to time, so at the beginning, you might not think of the money, but as said, I think you will need it later on. So directly at the beginning, I would recommend you to really know what you have, what your resources from a financial point of view are, and what you will really likely need to then start start the project. So one thing what is maybe very helpful is to just think of a minimum viable product, MVP product at the beginning, so that you can maybe not directly, let's say, fund the whole final solution, but just start with a quite first shot, a product such that you don't have to pay too much. So again, think early about the financial. You want to stay liquid in the end. You don't want to run out of money, so that would be really frustrating for you. And further, when you get later on investors, they will really ask in a very much detail how you thought about that. So, for example, maybe some of you already have seen here in German this Höhle der Löwen TV show. We really often see that the people there don't have a financial plan and a financial forecast, but that's something very important for investors. So be prepared and have that already in mind. Also, of course, look at your costs, and in this sense, I would also recommend you to use every kind of digital opportunities that are there to save costs. For example, tax advisories, or when your bank accounts for businesses are really smart digital solutions that help you save costs. What you really will need in the end, that will definitely depend on the business model, especially for some digital projects that I also have my own. I made the experience that you will not necessarily need external funding at the beginning. That really depends on the business model, and my recommendation here would be to choose the right financing way that fits for you. Just a few legal bases in Germany, at least, you can found a UG, so-called UG Unternehmergesellschaft, already from €1 plus round about €500 transaction costs, and you are already a capital-oriented startup there. And what also some people are not aware of, when you found a so-called GmbH in Germany, you only at the beginning have to pay into the bank account there €12,500, not the €25,000 that are required by law as so-called Stammkapital, and this costs around about €1,000 of transaction costs more. Further things that could come up is, for example, if you want to protect your business model by patents, or just the company's name, for example, the brand name. Finally, where to get the money. Manoj already mentioned it exists. So state support is one important resource where you can really get the money. This might be not for everybody feasible, because you have the advantage, of course, that you only need to partly repay it or not repay it even, but you have some conditions. Manoj mentioned, for example, that you need, when you get exist, then you need to finish your normal job and only work for the startup, and there are also some reporting issues. Of course, you are likely aware of that. There are venture capital and business angel opportunities. They often really help to scale up your startup, to make it big, and they offer great support, but also you will have huge pressure when you get money from VCs and business angels. You can finance, of course, as well by just going to a bank and taking a loan, but that's something that you have to repay, and maybe you will not be able, because your business is not running so well at the beginning. Then there are also some challenges and competitions around, where you, of course, can also win some prizes. Often that's not enough to really finance the whole startup, but think also on these things, because that will also help to network. And this is quite important, as Manoj mentioned already. More important is also something like using funding from family and friends and the team. This might be also a good way to start. And this is really a thing that especially US-based startups are now more and more doing. Maybe moving shortly for just 1 minute further to what you can think of as an equity structure. to finance your startup. I also mentioned already family and friends. What is really now, what is coming from the US, basically, what was here traditionally maybe not really the case priorly, is that you, for example, also give some shares to your team, and of course, and maybe even to your family, such that you can get finance a part of the startup, maybe even also coming from these resources. So here on the second slide from myself is just an idea on how you could set up an intelligent equity structure to finance your startup to make that scalable. That's really only a very, very short overview from my side about the financials. You can of course contact me whenever you have any questions to what is important, also regarding the content, how to set up really your financial plan, how to forecast it, and so on. You can always contact me and just ask me for details when it's time for that. Yeah, so that's basically already what I wanted to say very shortly about the financials. And yeah, thank you so much. I give it back to Fili.
Yeah, maybe you can also write your email address in the chat.
Yes,
and
sure.
How does it go further for all of you? Because that's a lot of information. I'm going to send you the slide after this webinar. That's for one. But also, how does it go? If you need financial aid, for example, you can either go directly to Dirk and say, hey, okay, I saw your presentation and I want to know more. Or you go through Manoj, because here is our startup coach. And you say, hey, coach, we need help in so many things. So not only finance, maybe also, I don't know, legal advice and like a lot of stuff. And then Manoj, because we have a lot of, let's say, experts in the team, Manoj would say, okay, finance, let's talk to Dirk. I don't know, legal, let's talk to this professor. And we have a lot of network. So that's the way to go from here. And we have the last 10 to 15 minutes. I would like to invite Adrian. You're there. Hi.
Hello.
Hey. So, okay, Adrian, like I said, had a lot of experience in these subjects, also like subjects which Dirk talked, first-hand experience, also like from the uni and everything. So let's start, Adrian, with can you present yourself? Who are you and what did you do and what's UniBw?
Thank you so much for having me. I'm Adrian. I'm 36 years old and I'm a co-founder and managing director of UniBw. UniBw is a company which is based in Ottobrunn, so just 5 minutes from the Bundeswehr University, and we are an electric motor startup. I have a background in electrical engineering. I was previously also working as a scientist at the Bundeswehr Uni at the chair of electrical drives. With Professor Gerling, and there we as a team of scientists invented a new kind of electric motor technology, and this basically is now also our the basis for our company. Today I'm responsible for the business-related aspects of UniBw, so finance rounds, marketing, sales, HR, legal aspects, and so on. So I'm not involved in the technical development anymore. And for this purpose, I also pursued an MBA program during the past 18 months at the IE Business School in Spain. And to just improve my business skills.
Good, thank you. And okay, so let's start with the whole idea of a startup. How did you come up with the idea? Why did you found a startup? Like, was it you? Was it someone who looked for you? Was it hard? Was it easy? Can you tell us about a little bit about the way?
Sure. So basically everything started in 2014, so around 7.5 years ago, when there was the idea at the chair about the new electric motor technology, and we pursued we followed this idea and further developed it. We did some very basic research, published some papers and set up first prototypes, and that was all possible due to the support we had from the university. And we always saw great potential in this technology, but we did not see great engagement coming back from the German car industry, for example, because they always felt like this is in a too early stage and we don't really want to invest in this. So that was also a reason for us why we were keen on the EXIST program. It made really sense in 2015, and we were going for the Forschungstransfer, so transfer of a research program, because it helped us to finance our small team in this case, but also to get some funds for further development of prototypes and for the manufacturing of the prototypes, which is really costly in case of electric motors, for example. During that time, we were actually 4 from the chair, but 2 of the team did not really want to go into this business direction. So we were only 2 left, Florian, which is my co-founder and managing director now at UniBw also, and me. But that also meant for us that we have to find 2 additional team members, because it was more or less required by the Forschungstransfer program. So we have 4 people, and ideally also with, let's say, complementary skills. So not only 2 scientists, but ideally also someone with background in marketing, for example, or financials. We found 2 additional team members, and basically we're going then for the program. During that time, unfortunately, at the Bundeswehr University, the structure concerning entrepreneurship was not that good as it is today. So we were going to the Straschek Center for Entrepreneurship from the University of Applied Science in Munich. They supported us, they approved our application. And I think during that time, we wrote an application of around 100 pages in total with appendix. We were then invited to pitch the project in Berlin, and then there was a big disappointment for us because our project was rejected. And we also did not get any official statement about the reasons, and this was really a big pain during that moment, because we did not really know how to finance the idea and the 4 team members basically during that time. That was also the reason why we lost 2 of the team members we basically were looking for the EXIST program. But Florian and I were able to continue with very little effort due to our position at the university. And as Manoj already explained, it's always an up and down. So please do not give up too early, and but also be well prepared for that when founding a company. And we were able, fortunately, to find then a partner from the company, from the industry, I'm sorry, so a company who was interested in the technology, and we offered then development services around this new motor technology to finance the further development of the technology. So we basically were able then to bootstrap the company in the first 3 years to do the development projects, to offer these development services for customers in the industry. And by doing this, we set up different generations of prototypes, but we were also able to grow our team. And then in 2019, so around 2 years ago, we had then our first financing round, and this helped us now to develop our first product, which is now available for the marine market. So it's really been around 7 years of research and development to get to this point. Yeah, but I'm really happy we made it so far.
Good, thank you. Great experience. And since you already talk about it, like you started with Exist, then I think you changed. What was your experience? Because in the uni, for people coming with from Forschung, also from research background, I think it's always a question if they should go with Exist or not. So would you advise it or recommend it, or in which cases would you recommend it?
To be honest, my information might be a bit obsolete because it's already 6 years ago, but I think the basic structure might still be the same, and I can highly recommend the Forschungstransfer model especially for hardware startups, where you also need funding for setting up prototypes and so on. It's actually the ideal solution because you are not allowed to have your company already established. It's prior to the foundation of the company, and I think it's a really great program to organize yourself to further develop the idea, but also spend some first thoughts about the business model of your company and also the team structure in there. Okay, so overall works, let's say. I would say it's really valuable, also because you have this access to mentors, which we did not have 6 years ago or 7 years ago, unfortunately. And one further, I think, very interesting aspect is that if you are going through this Exist program, if you manage to be accepted there, it's some kind of quality seal, which also helps you to find some first investors after the Exist stage. Good, very interesting. And last question from my side. So everyone here, according to the poll I did at the beginning, they have never founded, but they are interested. So they are either working on an idea, 1/3, and the other 2/3 are like, want to do it. So still no idea, but really want to do it. What would be your piece of advice? Maybe one do, one don't, or like your recommendations for people who want to start in it? Make sure you have a strong team, and ideally also with people complementing each other. This is really important, and make also sure that different people take ownership of different parts of the company. And I think in this respect, it is also very important to talk about the so-called 3 R's, relationships, roles, and rewards. There is a very nice article by the Harvard Business Review, which where I can send the link in the chat. In the chat, yes. If you want, yeah, for everyone. Mm-hmm. So really make sure that everyone in the founding team understands what are the roles and the responsibilities, but also what is the reward structure in the future. And be very open about these issues, because if this is not clear from the very beginning, it can create a lot of trouble then afterwards, basically. And basically what's also really important is to align on a clear mission statement. So what's the purpose of your endeavor, of your company, and the vision? So where do you want to go with your company? Try to make this as clear as possible in a very early stage. Perfect, thank you. Very valuable lessons. So I'm going to open up for questions for anyone